Hi, welcome back to me and Emma talking about your problems.
Because we have none of our own.
We have no problems. We're actually flawless. Me and
More
you.
flawless with less flaws.
That's great. I love that. I feel like listen, last time we did not get into the we didn't talk about anything, and I realized we didn't talk about a very important thing that happened the last time we got together when we recorded this. If you're listening right now, me and Emma are not in the same place. We are at various places. But so I went down to Emma's college for my spring break. But they weren't on spring break. But anyway, so I went down for my spring break, and I'm expecting to see Emma and a couple of other friends I have at this college, but I'm staying at Emma's place. And here's what I didn't expect. My cousin, I'm going to be so real, didn't expect my cousin to be there. Much less did I expect Emma to be like best friends with my cousin. I shouldn't say I didn't expect my cousin to be there. I knew he went to the school, and I knew that you guys had met.
You didn't expect him to just be in my apartment the whole time?
No. Like, literally the entire time I'm there, he's chilling with everybody in this apartment because this is his friend group. His friend group is Emma's friend group. And it's wild to me. And, yeah, you didn't think to tell me. Because at some point, I guess he stopped being, like, my cousin in your mind, and he was just like, this is my friend.
He was just, hey, this is Jared.
Yeah. And therefore, you never texted me about it. Like, you were never
when you were coming down, it was like, one of my roommates was like, hey, are you gonna tell, like, Jared that Elizabeth's coming? And I was like, why would I tell Jared? And I was like, oh.
Which is so funny. I've known him longer than you have. It's not fair. Anyway. No, but I'm not necessarily, like, there's some people that are, like, super close with their cousins, and, like, I don't know. That's not, I don't think I'm close with any of my cousins. But, like, still my cousin.
I'm close with one of your cousins.
I know, you're close with one of my cousins. I feel like one of your cousins goes to my school, and I feel like I was, like...
Two of them.
Two? Oh, yeah, I forgot. You have another one that came up here. Maybe I should just, like, in retaliation, become best friends with your cousin.
I support that.
Anyway, the question is, do we bring Jared on the podcast?
I think it would be really funny.
I think it would be really funny. I think he'd genuinely be, like, a funny person to have on the podcast.
He would,
So let us know in the comment section if you want to.
I appreciated the potluck suggestions that were given by people.
If
Although I said no desserts, and all of the suggestions were desserts, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. So while I was up there, I was gonna say Emma's cousin. No, my cousin had a potluck.
It's a Godzilla potluck.
It was a Godzilla potluck. That's a very important thing. I actually couldn't even end up staying because I got super sick, so whatever. But anyway, so we could not decide what we were making. Like, it was in a couple hours. It was like in maybe 6 hours, and we were like, we don't know what we're bringing. And so if you are on my something else I need to plug. If you're on my Instagram channel for this podcast, it has a channel. You can go, you don't have to follow me on Instagram. I think you can just go and just join the channel. And then every time we ask for questions and stuff, we'll send it there. But anyway, I was asking the question while we were trying to think of what to bring for the potluck. So we had you guys send us suggestions for what to bring. And we specifically were like, no desserts. And then like half of the
suggestions. Because everyone brings desserts.
It was just dessert. Yeah. I don't think a lot of people even brought dessert to that potluck. Like, there was not, like... I feel like usually you go to a potluck and it's like...
Jared's potlucks are like Thanksgiving.
Dude, I wanted to stay. It was so fun. I wanted to stay so bad, and I just had such a bad migraine, and I had to go home. But, like, anyway, I feel like I should be invited to the next one. And I feel like it's gonna be you inviting me and not him.
Hey, put it on his Instagram.
He did. He put that one on his Instagram. So I feel like we should start. I feel like we should, what did we say? Bring the issues to the table or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like we should go to the table. And I feel like the one, so I think I'm gonna send them out in batches of three, of like three questions. Then I just kind of scanned through them, and I picked whatever had the best responses. And this one, I asked a couple questions, but the best responses by far were in the category of high school teachers. And so
I've
these
had a
are
few
all
of
of your.
those.
I've had several high school teachers actually. But these are your issues about high school teachers that you guys have sent in. So yeah, let's go to the table. I don't know.
Let's go.
Okay, let's start off with one that I read to you because this person sent it in so fast. So fast. So I was still there with Emma, and I don't even think I don't even think we had gone to the potluck or anything. But this one got sent in. It said, so here's the issue. This year, my sister's high school decided to do West Side Story for their spring musical. The problem is, this school is about 80% white and 20% Asian. There is not a single Hispanic teenager in the entire cast. Everyone is being played by white people. As if the problem wasn't bad enough, all of the characters are doing accents. My group went to West Side Story together, and we all felt so uncomfortable during the entire show. When we got back to the school, we asked our theater teacher why they decided to do West Side Story when the entire cast is white. My theater teacher went on to defend the other school and state that she wishes we could have done West Side Story. We are all white. That's it. What do you even do in this situation?
I've never seen West Side Story.
Do you know the plot of West Side Story?
No.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, that's some vital context here that you should probably know. So
I'm guessing they're Hispanic.
Yes. So the whole plot of West Side Story, it's Romeo and Juliet. It's very much, that's basically.
Why didn't they just do Romeo and Juliet then if they wanted to?
Exactly, because West Side Story is great, but whatever. But no, it is Romeo and Juliet, but set in New York in mid-1950s. So it's set in New York, mid-1950s, and it's basically a gang rivalry instead of like the two families. And so it's the Jets and the Sharks, and the Jets are all white and the Sharks are Hispanic. And that's the thing, you know? So very much reliant on race.
On race. That's a main plot
entirely
point.
Like that's the whole thing. The whole thing is that they are immigrants. You cannot do that show with only white people. And this is a problem that happens at many high schools and should not happen at any high schools, in my opinion. Here's the thing. I am all for doing like Hamilton-esque casting for things where it's like race doesn't matter. And you should do that for some shows. Not when the show is about race. Not when that's the whole show. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I don't know how I would address that with a teacher, but you got to say something. You've got to be like, hey, West Side Story's great. It's a great musical. It really is. It's one of my favorites. No. We should never do that. Ever. So yeah, I don't even know what my advice is except to just like bully your teacher. I mean, don't bully your teacher. It's just so bad. That's so bad.
Here's what I would do in that situation.
What would you
take art classes, which is what I did in
That's so
high
real.
school.
That's actually so real. You should just drop out of theater and take art and avoid the conflict altogether. Better yet, drop it and do
travel
show choir.
back in time. Oh, that works too.
Travel back in time. No, I want to hear what you were going to say.
You stop it from happening in the first place.
See, that's also an option. So, yeah, your options are drop out, take an art class, drop out, take show choir, or break the laws of time.
I feel like those are all equally doable.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So, I feel like we should move on. Oh my God.
I feel bad because I feel like that was out of the scope of my knowledge. I'm not informed.
I thought that you. I actually can't believe you haven't seen West Side Story. I feel like that's something that your parents would have just put on. You know?
I don't know.
Like I feel like your parents are like, yeah, we like West Side Story, you know? So I'm
They
sorry.
probably do.
I wouldn't
No.
have said that. I wouldn't have picked that one if I had known that you actually like had no familiarity with what it was. Ooh, this one. Okay. This one says, so here's the issue. We have this Spanish teacher, and for context, I'm in Spanish 4, so like semi-advanced.
Yeah.
Issue The issue, though, is that we genuinely don't do anything because she rants about her personal life and her ex-boyfriend who cheated on her with this lady called, we're going to call her Maria. She put this lady's full name, by the way, first and last name,
Dang.
which I think adds so much to this story. So like all we learn to do is to talk crap about Maria. Which is maybe, which is a little
That's
maybe
what
not
that's
the
what you need
healthiest,
to know.
which is maybe a little not the healthiest for this teacher either, to be honest. But so she assigns like one thing per quarter and then doesn't grade it. She hasn't graded my one thing, so it says I have a 33% in the class, even though I've been asking this girl to grade it for months at this point. Also,
Oh
it
my
was an essay
gosh.
about Maria, by the way. So I don't know what to do. I don't want to do, because if this were anyone else, I'd go to a counselor. But this lady is kind of sad, and I think her job is the only thing going for her right now. Thoughts?
Listen, I've had some weird Spanish teachers.
Spanish teachers are so wild. I've had like one normal Spanish teacher, and it was Doctor, and I don't even feel like she was.
I don't think
normal.
she was normal.
She was normal in my class. The difference between my class and your class was like shocking. Like anytime I heard about what was going on in your class, I was like, what is going on there? Like we just had like a normal class.
Dang.
Yeah.
No, that class was not normal.
What was not normal about your class though?
We just
remember.
had like, there were like 10 of us in there.
Yeah.
And there was so much going on at all times.
Yeah, that's wild.
She
I don't
banned
know.
us from like making paper airplanes and like really anything to do with paper.
I
There
think
were,
she had
like-
her reasons.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on in that class.
That's wild. Okay, so anyway.
I loved it. Didn't learn anything.
Yeah,
Had a
I feel
good
like
time.
that's how most Spanish classes go. Like our friend Lily would talk about like French and like her French classes, and it was like, oh, you're doing things.
She knows stuff.
Yeah.
What I know from I took 4 years of Spanish, and I can do like the basic present tense is about the extent of my ability.
Yeah, I don't know. I took 3
I think
years
I
of
learned
Spanish.
more in like 1 year of ASL than I did in those 4 years of Spanish.
Yeah, I feel like I can understand Spanish fine. Actually, like
I can't really
that's
speak it that
something-
well. I can understand
cannot
it, but I can't
speak
really
it.
speak it.
I can't write it, but if you're telling me
I
something,
need
in
you to
Spanish,
talk
I
slow
know,
to me, and then I'm good.
I don't even feel like people have to talk that slow for me. I can usually figure out the gist of what's going on. But that's it. That's the only skill. I don't know. But anyway, this person's Spanish class, you have to report this.
You
Like this is like that's so bad that you know her first and last name.
But you had assignments about her?
That you had an
So
assignment
only
where
you had 2 assignments like total?
Yeah, I feel like you got to talk to somebody about this. I understand not wanting to, but like you got it, like this is something you can like send in. I feel like maybe our school had something where you could send in an anonymous thing, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
If your school has something anonymous, you can just email and be like, listen, she's going through it and she's oversharing so much and we love her, but she can't be doing this, you know? Like, I don't feel like that's anything that this lady's gonna get fired over, but like, she's gotta stop. Like, as two people who are going to be teachers, they tell you not to do
That's
things
actually
like
my
this.
plan.
Oh,
Oh.
for real?
Awkward.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
No, yeah. But they like tell you in college, like, this is what's appropriate to talk about in front of students. That's not.
That is not.
That's not on any of the lists I've been given. Anyway. Yeah, you got to tell somebody about that for real. But also like that's kind of fun. Like, you know.
Yeah. To be fair, two of my classes, like for the second half of my senior year, didn't have teachers, so I feel like I can't really say anything. So
I was also gonna be like, to be fair, my chorus teacher, I definitely but he never talked about like ex-boyfriend or not ex-boyfriends, ex-girlfriends or anything. We just found a YouTube channel where he used to make duets singing with her. So then we all found out too much about his ex-girlfriend, but he didn't tell us that, you know? Like that was like a thing that he was like embarrassed about. But yeah, so I don't know. You shouldn't do that. It's normal to hear your teacher be like, "Oh my gosh, my spouse." You know? That's fine. Not their ex.
Not my ex-boyfriend's new girlfriend, question mark?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know about that. Okay. Anyway. Okay, let's move on. Yeah, we're just going to jump into it. So here's the issue. High school teachers are obviously thought of in different ways from different students. How do you battle a teacher who gives everyone lower grades for stupid reasons? He gave me a 99 because, quote, "no one is perfect except for me."
I hate that.
He wrote it like 10
except
times
for
on
me?
my project. Yes, except for
they didn't
the
even say
teacher.
no one is perfect. Which still I would have issues, but no one is perfect except for me? That's
for me. Yes, only the teacher is perfect. Okay. He wrote it like 10 times on my project. He also
That's excessive.
Which he also said would make my psychologist proud.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. He gave my friend a lower grade for liking Taylor Swift. He's retiring this year, and I would love to just while I would love to just hold it out and get it over with. It's my junior year, and he's either way, he does sometimes.
Junior year is like the year of get good grades.
Exactly.
So
you gotta get
good
grades here. Either way, he does sometimes up our test grades a lot, though. Also, he tells us he doesn't know the topic, so we should know the topic better than him.
I thought he was perfect.
Yeah. Okay, dude. What? She also said, on the other side of this, how do I make iconic, amazing teachers be seen as iconic, amazing teachers? Be seen as the amazing and iconic teachers that they are to those who are just salty because of how the class was set up. So basically, they're asking, how do you deal with a teacher that's awful, and how do you make students understand that one of your other teachers is maybe not as awful as they think they are?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because here's the thing, I guarantee, you know that this person is like an overachieving student, not maybe overachieving, but a high achieving student.
Yeah.
And so you know that the other kids in this class who are not high achieving, who are like, I don't really care about grades, I'm sure that they love this teacher. You know? You know that that's the way it is. Because that's the way it was in all my classes.
He's going way too far.
Yeah,
like that just feels mean.
Trip. He's on a power trip for sure. And can I say something?
Again,
that's such an English teacher thing. No math teacher is ever going to be like, you know what, you got everything right, but I'm going to mark you off because nobody's perfect. No math teacher could ever get away with that. But English teachers, they do that sometimes. No?
I was trying to think about how you could do it with like math, but I was like, okay, but I feel like he's not trying to like hide like, oh, I'm just taking points off for this and be sneaky about it. You like Taylor Swift? Point off. Like that just feels,
I don't know. I might go on a side tangent here talking about one time our TA in a music class, and this guy I actually got close to reporting him at some point because there was a couple of other things. But the funniest day was he comes in and he it was like right after Taylor Swift released Midnights or something like that. Like it was some recent album had just come out, and so people were talking about it, or maybe it was the Eras tour starting or something like that. I'm not sure. But he goes, he basically said that people who like Taylor Swift are cringy because all her songs are about ex-boyfriends, which is super sexist. And he said it in a very sexist way. And this one girl in our class, literally obsessed with Taylor Swift, she literally tore him to shreds. She's like, would you say that about this? Would you say it about, like, she went off. She had this list of men who primarily write love songs. She was like, would you say it about him? Would you say it about
That's
this?
iconic.
And she, like, oh my gosh, it was so funny. And he was like, her music is just also like so basic and boring. And she's like, no, it's not. Here, let's analyze her music right now. Like, let's pull up chord analysis. Let's do this. Like, she's like, she was
ready.
She was like, do we want to do a lyrical analysis of folklore? Like, what's going on? It was so like, I should also mention, I wasn't even here for this day. This is just things I heard from other people because of how iconic this became. But anyway, yeah, so people are crazy about Taylor Swift. But anyway, no one's ever going to like every teacher. That's the first thing. You got to keep that in mind. And so I do think you should report him, but you also got to keep in mind that admin knows that not everybody likes every teacher. And so you got to like give some legit
show
proof.
them
like,
your paper.
You got to show this paper that says, oh, I didn't give you 100% because of XYZ. Like, dude, like, come on. You have to, like, that's something that you can absolutely, and I think you should report for. That's just weird. Same thing with the Taylor Swift. But that's the other thing. And you're never going to make everybody like a teacher. I had an English teacher I liked. Everybody hated her. She was new that year. And I think she literally only stayed for like a year. Like, it wasn't permanent. I loved her so much. And nobody else did. And I didn't understand that. Because I was like, she's fine. She's fair. She's like, has all these good things going for her. She just, I don't know. So I don't know if you can have anybody fix that, but absolutely you should. Yeah, you should report that teacher. I feel like 90% of these are going to end up being, yeah, you need to report this teacher because that's not okay. But somebody just said, this is just something that I think that you would appreciate. Somebody just said in all caps, literally my teacher doesn't know how to teach science, so I got a C on my science test. What do I do?
Go to different science teachers in that school and have them help you out, because that's what I did.
Wait, really? That's actually like helpful.
Yep. Like, because our school had like a study hall where you could basically just go anywhere, and there was one, like, I like loved my physics teacher. And so I would just, like, ask him, like, so many questions.
About other classes?
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's a solid answer. Go to either kids in different classes or straight up go to teachers in different classes.
Because then I was like, the kid that people came to. Because then I knew because I talked to him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you practically do, but also I relate. I don't know a single thing. I was in chemistry and I got an A+ in that chemistry class. I don't know what any of that was.
Yeah, high school chemistry, I did not learn a lot.
I didn't learn anything. They're like, what's the significant figures? And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Significant figures is like, okay. That's not even like chemistry. That's just writing numbers. But that's
I know what that is.
That was like
now,
the only,
But like, you know how
they spent like months on that, I feel like. And I was like, dude, what the...
It was wild.
It was also COVID.
I should say that. But also I know for a fact, like the rest of my classes, I'm like, yeah, it was hard because it was COVID. That class, I'm like, I wouldn't have gotten anything else out of it. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I had that class with several of my friends and we would all text each other being like, hey, do you understand this? And we'd all be like, no. And then we would all get A's. And we were like, what is going on? So then like people would come to us being like, how did you do it? And we're like, we don't know what's going on. Oh, it was so bad.
No, but like with like my calc class, I just like only ever like learned it from my dad or from Mr. That was it.
Yeah. Yeah, also if your dad's like in STEM, ask your
Yeah.
dad. You should do that. That's yeah. This person
Ask my dad. Moral of the story.
you should actually ask Emma's dad.
He knows everything.
If you DM me, I'll give you his phone number.
No.
I will not be doing that. I could. That would be so funny. Could you imagine? I would never do this, but could you imagine your dad getting messages from random kids being like, "Hey, can you help me with this like science problem?"
No, the thing is he would help them.
He would do it. He would do it. He wouldn't know who you were, but he'd be like, "Okay, yeah." Anyway. This one person just said, "Okay, here's the issue. Our entire high school, like 60 people, they're in a rural Midwest high school, absolutely despises our English teacher as well as like half the staff and the town. When will she get the memo herself?" I have a lot of questions about this.
What did she do?
What did she do? If your entire town hates somebody, like that's a problem.
And how did she not know?
Yeah, that's the other thing. I think this is why I picked it. She definitely knows. There's no way that you cannot know that. And at this point, I kind of feel bad. Either if she is like genuinely a terrible person, she knows that everybody hates her and she doesn't want to change. Or she's a good person and y'all are just rude. Y'all are just rude. I feel like maybe you should stop being rude to her. Watch it, like she ends up like being like racist or something, and I'm like, you should be nice. I don't know, but that's wild. I feel like imagine like half of a town hating you. Even if
that
it
would
is like
be
a town of, like,
sad. Still,
so sad. I kind of feel bad for her. I feel like you meant for this to be like, you know what, she'll get the memo. We just feel bad.
I feel bad.
Anyway, I hope things get better for that lady.
And that other Spanish teacher.
Yeah, that's so real. Ooh, this is one I have to talk about because I had a teacher that was just like this. Listen, and we're not trying to get political up in here, okay? This is about teachers oversharing too much. A history teacher last year said on the first day of school that he thought America was the best country in the world. I burst out laughing, and the rest of the class stayed silent. He also told me that feminism isn't important anymore because things got so much better than they used to be, and would constantly say things about my food allergies and disregard me asking for a heads up before he brought food in.
Okay, that's just a medical concern.
I switched classes.
Inexcusable. Yeah, that's the solution.
I switched classes and he was talked to by the school. Over a year later now, he's a completely different person.
Dang.
Which is wild. Because you'd think
who at that school talked to him?
I know. I'm like, okay, this is such a positive thing. So for everybody who's like, our advice is like, oh my gosh, go and talk to somebody. Maybe this will happen. Maybe it'll happen. Maybe they'll end up being great. But yeah, one of my math teachers definitely said things way too political for a classroom setting. And
is this 10th grade?
This was COVID.
COVID, okay.
This was when he was like, yeah, I should be allowed to bring a gun to school. And I was like, that's a wild thing to say. That's a wild thing to say.
That is a wild thing to say.
I think about that all the time. I just dipped. I told a different teacher that he said that though, and I don't know if they ended up telling somebody about it because they were like, that's like not okay that he said that.
That's not okay.
And a lot of other things that he said, but whatever. Anyway, but also the feminism is an important thing. I had a kid say that in my gov class, and the response was wild. Because in Gov, I don't know if you've ever taken an AP Gov class. This is how they should go. It was run by a wonderful teacher. She made us all stay very neutral and have great discussions. And you had to let somebody say like their entire thought and everything like that. It was so hard to explain to that kid in a calm way That was the wildest thing he possibly could have said. It was crazy. So yeah, hearing that from a teacher, and also food allergies, every part of this.
Yeah.
Like, is this guy okay? Why is he a teacher? And then also, how did he get better? Like, I'm all for believing in change. I'm all for that, but that's a lot of things.
He
That's
no
a lot of
longer puts people into anaphylactic shock.
I'm so proud of him. Like, I genuinely am. I'm so glad that this worked out, but anyway, so I don't think that this person needs advice, but I wanted to read it because it's wild. Anyway, that's just crazy.
Man,
I don't even.
teachers are.
And he's just like,
sometimes.
yeah, actually, I'm just gonna start listening to everything. I'm gonna be totally fine. That's so funny. Okay, this person said, so here's the issue. My English teacher loves me, but calls me Molly, which isn't my name and is not also even close to my name. I keep telling him every time it comes back to Molly. What do I do?
Well, like, they, like, grade your stuff. They see your name. They have to know your name to, like...
That's so true.
So what? Like... Is he just, like, purposefully doing this?
I don't know what to do.
Especially if it's not close to your name.
Because that's the thing. I'm so bad with names, and I'm, like, worried about it. But I'm worried about it because I'm like, oh, like, I'm not going to grade any physical things. It's choir, you know? So that's why that stresses me out. But I'm like, no, he literally has your name. Like, there's no way that he doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Unless this is also literally a choir teacher. No, they said English. All of these have been English so far. This is a little... Not all of them, but... I don't know how to go about that.
Just start wearing a name tag.
That's pretty good. I feel like another good option is to just, like, write your name on the whiteboard like 50 million times.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Just
yeah,
go
like,
up there, write not Molly, whatever
not
your
Molly,
name is.
whatever your
Just write Molly, actually.
Other option, you said this English teacher loves you. Maybe
just
you
stop responding.
Well, I was gonna say maybe you change your name
to Molly.
Just, like, out of solidarity. He
has decided.
Yeah, I feel like, honestly, at this point, it's not even up to you.
Yeah, you're Molly now.
Yeah. So sorry about that.
It to you.
Molly, I hope you're doing good. It's a good name. I feel like maybe
Molly
you should just embrace it. That's so bad. A lot of these, you just need to report your teachers. I'm going to go ahead and say 90% of these that people sent in, you got to go report your teacher. You know? Anyway. Oh, this is somebody sent in a choir thing. So I'm sorry, but I've got to read this one that is specific to choir, but I also know you would also be frustrated by this. Yeah, so it said choir tea, so I know you'll enjoy this, Elizabeth. Here's the issue. I had a solo in choir for a festival, but the solo was originally given to another girl. Since my teacher doesn't audition people, she just picks them. Anyway.
What?
Anyway, so for this festival, we were singing at a bunch of old churches, and me and the other girl were flip-flopping between who was doing it. But at one church, there were like 6 other schools listening to us, and my director didn't tell us who was supposed to go. So we get to the solo, and me and the other girl just don't sing because we don't want to interrupt the other person just in case. And my teacher looked at me like, girl, TF. Girl, TF are you doing? Sing. So I came in like 2 measures late, and it was awful, and I'm so embarrassed, and my teacher proceeded to lecture me about it. And I'm like, girl, WTF, it was your fault. Anyway, how the frick do I deal with this teacher? Because she's a pain in my booty, and I don't know what to do because she is still kind of mad at me about it. I hate teachers like this.
I feel like that's not on you, man.
This is absolutely
not on you.
First things first, this is not on you. Second thing, I hate chorus teachers who are like, yeah, I don't really do auditions, you know? Like, I'm just gonna pick based off the vibes. Because then they pick the same 2 people, like, over and over again. And that's not okay, and everybody should be given a fair shot. Even if lots of chorus teachers still only pick the 2 people, but they, like, do auditions, you know? they like go through like the rigmarole of like, yeah, everybody has a fair shot,
Everyone
but you know
has
they
a
don't.
shot.
Like even that is better than this. Like that's so wild. And
Do they? I feel like they don't usually pick multiple people to have a solo, do they?
I've had that happen. If it's like a thing where they know that there's going to be a lot of performances, that's not the weirdest thing in the world.
Okay.
I mean, it's not
But
great.
usually they tell you who is
usually
singing.
It's very clear who's going to be doing what. And also, why is she blaming you and not the other girl who also didn't do that? Also, can I say props to both of you? Because so many times when there is a situation like this where there's a toxic choral teacher, the students then become toxic. And I feel like the fact that neither of you guys sang because you didn't want to interrupt each other like shows that you are more mature than this lady. Because I know some people in high school who would have like sung over somebody else rather than like get it wrong. But the fact that neither of you did it, I'm like, go off to you. You guys are slaying. But things you need to know. This isn't on you. Advice? I don't even know. Because the thing about chorus is that you can't like just switch to a different class. You know? It's like that's your one option.
Take art classes.
Yeah, take art classes.
No, but I feel it if the teacher doesn't want to understand, they just won't.
I feel like there's a good argument to be made for maybe, because I bet you are not the only person frustrated by the not auditioning thing. I feel like there's a case to be made that maybe you get a bunch of people together and you say, hey, I think we should start doing auditions for solos. Here's all the people that agree. And then maybe things like this will be less likely to happen. Like, obviously, I don't think there's anything you can do about this except just, like, be annoyed. But in the future, I feel like you got to be like, listen, like, auditions are not a bad thing. You know? So, because I feel like that should be happening. I feel like, again, even if she is just going to pick the same two people, at least make it look like she's not. You know? I don't know. That's wild. Okay, I don't think I read this one through, but I did mark it. So anyway, so here's the issue. The teachers that try so hard to be funny are usually my least favorite teachers. My AP Gov and Econ teacher is constantly favoring these two guys in my class, and it's very obvious. He always sits them in front of him and pretty much only talks to them. One time, I had to do a project with one of the guys, and he wasn't doing any of the work. I emailed the teacher for help, and he never ended up doing anything. He also has been borderline rude and an awful teacher to some of my friends. He even slammed the door on my friend's face during office hours, which she was asking for help because she was absent. He also always wastes class time by making stupid jokes. He's like Michael Scott before any of the character development. Any advice? That is
so frustrating.
That's such a roast.
That is
call somebody the Michael Scott before the character. Oh. That's actually the worst.
Especially when you're like, all I want you to do is what you're literally getting paid to do.
Yeah, no,
like,
literally.
I just want you to do your job.
Like, literally just do your job. Okay, I feel like this is another, like, classic. Yeah, you gotta go talk to admin about this. But optional other step. Can you put him through character development? Can you make his life the worst?
Be the Toby you want to see in the world?
That's so real. You could be Toby. You could be... Who else, like, helped Michael Scott grow?
I don't think he helped him. I think he just annoyed him,
I think he annoyed him.
Which might be what they want.
Unfortunately, I think the thing that gave Michael Scott the most character development was Holly, and so you should not date your teacher. That's not what I
recommend that.
That's not... We're not saying that even a little bit. But I think maybe, you know, maybe we're not doing Michael Scott character development, but I feel like you should give him character development. And I think that involves being the worst person. I feel like you should start to make his life awful.
Except then that tanks your grade.
But like like in secret. I'm saying like you like
secretly sabotage his life.
You start like you empty the oil in his car. You like maybe start sending his family
Rob
rumors
his
about
house.
him, rob his house. All of these are illegal. You shouldn't.
Yeah.
No, what's like a chill thing that you could do that just like will annoy him over time? I don't know. I feel like there's so many things that would annoy me as a teacher, but I don't know if they would annoy that person as a teacher. I feel like the only thing that could be better is if he's got like an ego, you've got to get like another teacher and be like, dude, we love this teacher instead. You know? Like that type of thing. I don't know. Yeah, I would say put him through the character development, but also you should report him and let admin deal with it.
Let them do the character development.
Yeah, that's actually so true. Okay, I have the most annoying and insufferable chem teacher. Basically, no one else in my group, including me, did much on the chem proposal, so we just used the first experiment lesson we had set up, which we're not allowed to use, to do it because we have 3. Would not leave us alone. I'm assuming their teacher would not leave us alone and kept on being like, hurry, y'all are doing such a bad job on it, and just on and on and on. Second lesson, we got to half and we were fine, but he still doesn't understand and was just making us panic for no reason. Oh, and on the second lesson, one of the girls drops the subject and now it's just me and this one other girl. For the third lesson, she messages me, the one still in the group, being like, sorry, I can't make it. I have a doctor's appointment. I literally physically couldn't do it all by myself, and I was stressed. I have an exam and 3 assignments due in the next couple of days. So I go to him, and he's like, well, you should have just done it on the first lesson. Just again, and on, not listening to me, and I'm just panicking, and he's yapping. Also, key info, the reason it took us the whole lesson to get it set up is because they were busy getting equipment, or supplied with enough equipment for the anyway, they had a valid reason for that. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to skim this through because this person is very clearly upset just in the way that they're typing. So anyway, I get help from a stranger, and because it's someone who doesn't know what we're doing and a stranger, I made them do practically nothing except the bits I could do. Yeah. We're recording 2 different bits of data, and we still finished in time, but the whole time he wouldn't shut up and was making fun of literally just me in front of everyone. And literally the collection of data was so specific, and he ruined part of the data because he was yapping in my ear. Yeah, they said sorry for the all caps and stuff, but that's basically the end of it. Teachers like that make me so frustrated.
You shouldn't make fun of your students, like
never. You should never make fun of your students.
But also like, why do some of these people become teachers?
That's so real. There are so many teachers that I'm like, now going through like school to be a teacher, I'm like, they got warning. They knew what this was about.
They went through school. They saw teachers. They knew what teachers did.
Yeah, and it's just wild to me. And then here's the other thing. And I think the reason I picked that is because I want to talk about this. Group projects. If you as a teacher are going to give a group project, you've got to understand that they are the worst,
I am in a group project right now, and it's the only good group project I have ever been in,
really?
In all my, how many years of school? Like,
exactly.
14 years of 15 years of 15 years of school. Yeah. And I've got one.
You got one.
I've got one where everyone shares it equally, and everyone does stuff on time.
Waffles, can you chill out? I know you're hungry, but, you're gonna be fine. She's very grumpy. She says, I want some food, please.
Me too, dog.
That's so relatable. But yeah, so here's the thing. If you're going to be a teacher who assigns group projects, you've got to know that people aren't going to do the work, and you've got to respect that. You've got to know that.
They're still trying. Mm-hmm. They're doing
They are trying. And also, they're literally high schoolers. That's the other thing I didn't understand about high school teachers. When you would have poor time management and they would get on your case so much about it. And I'm literally, your brain is not developed. Your brain is not capable at that moment in time of being able to know, hey, I should do this now so I don't have to do it later. That's like that's like an objective concept that you're aware of, but you literally you don't have the prefrontal cortex to really understand what that means, you know? Like, anyway. So I just don't understand when teachers like got really upset about that. Like, I understand them being like, hey, like, you see that maybe you should have done more of this earlier. But like getting unreasonably upset about it is not.
Okay, but you said they were still getting equipment. They were still like
Yeah, and they're still doing stuff.
yeah. They weren't just blowing it off. They were just doing it.
I'm so frustrated by this teacher. My advice to you is the same as the character development one. Maybe Kia's car.
Yap in his ear for a while.
Yap in his. That's what you should do. You should. Here's the thing: if you have a teacher who talks too much, you should start talking too much. I think it works.
And just don't stop.
No, just don't stop. Just keep on going. Because what are they going to do? And they're like, and they start trying to talk, and you're like, no, I'm talking. And then if they're like, hey, you need to stop talking, you should be like, I'm literally just following example. Ever think about that? Anyway. Yeah. I feel like this was an episode.
This was an episode.
I feel like sure. I'm so curious to see if anybody actually wants to listen to us just talk about random
I don't know,
lives.
yeah.
I feel like people are going to get bored of this very quickly. Mm-hmm. But also, like, it's fine. We can change things up. We can do different things. Anyway, so you should join my Instagram broadcast. It's super fun. It's really not. I just will like keep you updated with stuff. I try not to spam in there, but sometimes I get excited, like when we're having a potluck and I was like, hey, like I feel like everybody needs to know about this. Maybe I'll make another broadcast that's just me spamming like random my thoughts and feelings on random events. Oh, also looking for art for the cover art. I have someone that I can pay to do it. I'd rather not. I'm kidding. I would love to pay anybody for their art. No, but I have like one of my brother's girlfriends can do graphic design stuff. I also have a friend that can do graphic design stuff. I have people, but I feel like it would be more meaningful if it came from you guys. But, you know, I'm open to paying somebody a little bit for a cover art if you want to do that. I'm just yapping. You know?
So true. That's
I'm just keeping on.
Podcasts are all about.
That's so true. Podcasts are really just a good yap sesh. And
so true.
I love reading what people send in. It's so funny sometimes. I'm like, I cannot believe that this is somebody's real life. And I think it's iconic. So yeah, let us know what you think. Craig. Leave a comment. Have a great day. And give your dog a pat from me. Do you have anything to add?
I can't pat my dog from here.
That's so sad. Okay. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Bye.
Bye.